Hey everybody. How many of you are following the Brittney Griner situation? She was the basketball player who was arrested for having a little bit of hash. Yeah, so they're holding her overseas and, doing that one world trade type of a 9/11 situation. I'm not hinting at anything. Oh, no. But it is interesting that she's a Phoenix Mercury. Mercury. Like the constellation. What constellation is Mercury in right now? Capricorn. What is Capricorn? The exit portal. Huh. Okay, there's a whole lot to this situation. But to back up, I feel bad for her. She's had a rough life. Growing up a lesbian and growing up at her height, she was bullied and teased. Then with her first wife, she went through a ton of abuse. And then she's been through a lot. She's just been through a lot. I feel bad. This poor woman. I don't know her personal life. I'm not here to judge her personal life. But here's what I do want to do. I want to show you a bit about how my brain works and how I associate things. For instance, Brittney's number is 42. So I want to talk about what I see in my mind as connections.
James Longman has more.
Seven-time WNBA All-Star and two-time Olympic gold medalist Brittney Griner is in Russian custody. Video released by Russian Customs appears to show the 31-year-old athlete going through airport security near Moscow last month, and the video then shows an employee removing a package from her bag. Russian state media reports vape cartridges containing hashish oil found. Griner was arrested for allegedly smuggling a narcotic substance, an offence punishable there by up to 10 years in prison.
The disturbing elements of this is the fact that Brittney can be held for years. They will keep her in jail as long as they like and as long as they find it useful for them.
The Phoenix Mercury star has played in Russia for the last 7 years during the off-season, most recently with UMMC Ekaterinburg, earning over $1 million per season, more than quadruple her WNBA salary. It's unclear exactly when in February she was detained. Her last Instagram post dated February 5th. Her agent saying they can confirm that as we work to get her home, her mental and physical health remain our primary concern. In a 2017 interview with ESPN, Griner described feelings of isolation while playing in Russia.
I mean, when you're stuck in it so much, you got to find a positive in it so you're not miserable.
Now, the US is urging all American citizens to depart the country immediately, and the State Department has issued a do not travel advisory. Secretary of State Blinken was asked what the US will do to help her.
Whenever an American is detained anywhere in the world, we of course stand ready to provide every possible assistance, and that includes in Russia.
Griner is now one of at least 3 Americans detained there. The others, Paul Whelan, the former US Marine detained in 2018 and sentenced to 16 years in prison on an espionage charge he strongly denied. Former US Marine Trevor Reed, currently serving 9 years for assaulting a police officer, a crime he and his family denies happened, and the US ambassador to Russia said obviously didn't occur. As for Griner, it's unclear what role her detainment will play as global tensions rise.
Vladimir Putin will try to use her to get something from the West. I don't think he will succeed because we don't generally bargain with the lives of American citizens.
This as Griner's loved ones await her safe return, her wife posting on Instagram, "I love my wife wholeheartedly, so this message comes during one of the weakest moments of my life. Please honor our privacy as we continue to work on getting my wife home safely."
My first thought when I hear 42 is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Douglas Adams. Answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Calculated by an enormous supercomputer named Deep Thought over a period of 7.5 million years. Unfortunately, no one knows what the question is. In 2013, she was actually on the cover of ESPN magazine, and she was pictured holding a snake. And she said that the snake was her favorite animal because it's misunderstood kind of like her. She had said, you just have to look at it in a different way. I agree. What else do we know about Mercury? We know that Mercury is also known as the evening star close to sunset, and it's called the morning star close to sunrise. Yes. And then the ancient Greeks, they would call it the morning star Apollo. And also Mercury is actually the Roman god of messengers. Delivers messages. In 66, there was of course it's the sixes and the sixes, right? But in 66, Paul Cooper theorized that the fastest way and most efficient way to travel across the country would be to bear straight through a hollow tube directly through the earth, connecting a set of antipods, and then remove the air from the tube and fall through. The first half of the century consists of free fall acceleration, while the second half consists of exactly equal deceleration. The time for such a journey works out to be 42 minutes. There's that 42, you guys. But even if the tube does not pass through the exact center of the earth, the time for a journey powered entirely by gravity always works out to be 42 minutes. So long as the tube remains friction-free, as well the force of gravity would be lessened. Of course, it would slow down then, and that would reduce the equal rate. I think that's interesting. And we know that that's enough. Another fun fact about the number 42. Let's look at magic numbers for programmers. So this is a fun fact for 42. Are you familiar with TIFFs, which is a tagged image file format? Well, the second 16-bit word of every file, it's 42. Yeah, an arbitrary but carefully chosen number that further identifies the file of a TIFF file. That's cool. Also, you have in the sky alignment again, see how I'm all over the place? You have Messier 42, has a magnitude of 5.0, and it's a diffused nebula in the constellation of Orion, also known as the Orion Nebula. We're going to skip the information on Orion for now. But let's talk about ancient Egypt and the connections. What's the connection of 42? Well, there are 42 parts of the body of Osiris. And then in some traditions, in the Osiris myth, Seth slaves Osiris and distributes all of his 42 parts all over Egypt. So there's that. Another thing we have is the 42 negative confessions. In ancient Egyptian religion, the 42 negative confessions were a list of questions asked to the deceased person that was about to make their journey through the underworld after death. Ma'at was an abstract concept representing the moral law under the truth in both the physical and the moral spheres, as well as being an important goddess in the religion. In the judgment scene described in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which I love, Necronomicon, which evolved from the coffin text to the pyramid text. 42 questions were asked of the deceased person as part of the assessment of Ma'at. And if the deceased person could reasonably give answers to the 42 questions, well, they would be permitted to enter into the afterlife. So that was a big thing. These 42 questions are known as 42 negative confessions. And they can be found in the funerary texts, such as there's a papyrus of Ani. I'm sorry on my pronunciations, you guys. I'm not that great. In Japanese culture, 42 is actually a very unlucky number because the numerals are separate and they say shi and ni, which sounds like the word dying. That's I forget all of the stuff behind it, but that part I know. So what I see when I see 42 is a lot of death rituals. So I'm praying for her. I'm not saying that all of these things apply to her. I'm just saying that this is kind of how my mind works and how my thought process goes through numbers, names, alignments. So I'm kind of trying to give you a look into different pieces of knowledge, presented the best way I can.